everyone, we're live. Can you hear us? This is my first in-person event in like 3 years and I have a guest with me, so I'm super excited. But before I get into that, do you need some green squares? Because we've got loads for you today and we're going to be doing automation with GitHub Actions with Marcelo, the expert. So Marcelo, please give yourself an introduction.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, it's great to do this in person after such a long time. It's my first live stream, so really excited. A little bit nervous, but I think we'll get through this, and with your help for sure. So yeah, feel free to ask questions and have a good time, and obviously yeah, just enjoy. So yeah, I'm Marcelo Sousa. We are actually live streaming from Porto. I don't know if you told.
I did not yet. No.
Oh right. So yeah, we are in beautiful sunny Porto, and yeah, it's in a very nice weather. And yeah, we are a small startup. We are doing a lot of open source to help developers just get up to speed with automation, with pull requests, with issues. We are a team of 5 people at the moment, but we're really excited in contributing to open source. My first experience with open source has been mostly this year, so I'm also kind of a new, even though I've been coding for like I don't know, maybe 15 years. I'm also new to open source, so it's good to just enjoy and also contribute to the community.
And I met Marcelo at an event in Porto and we just started geeking out straight away, of course, on open source. Marcelo was really nice to get me a t-shirt. So yeah, I'm super excited for today because we've got lots of amazing things to show you. We're going to supercharge GitHub Actions, and on the Eddie Hub projects, we're going to make some changes, and then we're going to get all of you to make changes because we've got issues to be raised, pull requests, automation, so we're super excited. And I think we're going to mostly do work on the link-free project today, but we'll do a little bit on Hacktoberfest to show you how you can get started. It's so excited. Thank you all for being here. Let's give some shout outs. So we have right at the beginning, I think Krish was first. So Krish, thank you so much for being here first. Then Praduma, Tamal, Tom's here as well. Awesome. With Tom, we're going to do something on, I know Tom, you review a lot of the profiles on Linkfree. We're going to add certain labels to help with that. So, and maybe add a bit more automation. I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts on that in maybe automatically merging certain things. So let's see how we go on that. We've got exciting things. We've made some notes, really small here. You probably definitely can't read it, yeah. But we're going to let you fill you in. Simon, awesome to have you here. Adriano, awesome. It's great. And Sean as well. Okay. And then people in the background as well. It's not a green screen. This is like a real room. Okay, so let's share the screen, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I want to ask you to start some projects shortly as well. So Eddie Hub project, let's not start there. Let's go to Marcelo's screen. Let's hear about what the open source project Reviewpad is about. So over to your screen.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, just popped up here our website. It's very simple, just really like straight to the point. So what we're doing is a GitHub action to do pull request automation. It's actually a little bit more than just pull requests, also goes into issues. And it's about automating manual tasks. So how, first question, how do you get started? It's quite simple to get started. So say I want to just go for the Oktoberfest practice repo. So the only thing I have to do is I have to copy this repo. I have to just add it here.
Okay, I haven't seen this yet.
And I'll just click install. And what's going to happen is something's going to happen because I'm not allowed to do this. But if I was allowed to do this, so what I can do is I can fork the repo, and I'll show you exactly what happens. So when I fork the repo, it automatically adds the Reviewpad YAML specification of the GitHub action, right? And here you can essentially see what's going on, right? So essentially we have a one click installation of adding just the Reviewpad GitHub action, which lives here. So we are going to be able to add this GitHub action into the Oktoberfest. And so what's going on here? So we are basically going to do this on issues and issue comments. We also want to do on pull request targets because if you have your awesome pull requests from the forks, you want to do some automation there. And first, to be able to do that, we need to add a couple of permissions. So we need to basically say that we are allowed. So the action is allowed to write, and it's also able to write into issues. And then what happens is the GitHub action runs, And you can either use a default configuration that we provide here on this URL. So, and I'll go a little bit into that in a second. Or you can basically add your own Reviewpad file. And so everything is done for you. You just have to basically, we even fill up the commit message and the commit description. So you can basically pretty much just do a propose new file. So maybe that would be cool to just do with you, Eddie. We can just try and go to Reviewpad. Can you share your screen? Or
I am. I've just realised we're using the audio of my Mac and not, and StreamYard isn't picking up the other microphone. So I'm going to quickly. I'm going to try and see why that is the case. So apologies, everyone. That is really, really painful, and I don't know why that isn't coming through. So I will look at that in a second. The audio, we are mic'd up. It should be really good audio, but it's not. So my apologies. I will look into StreamYard why that's happening. So I'll look at that in a second. Marcelo, tell me what we were doing. Sorry, my apologies.
No worries. So we'll just have to go to reviewpad.com. So if you pull up your screen.
Share my screen, sure. Okay.
And so if you go to reviewpad.com,
reviewpad.com,
and now you just need to go to the Oktoberfest repo.
Perfect.
You just need to copy paste that link there and
install. Let's go. And what's this actually going to do?
So it's going to add a file to your repo. So
okay.
This is going to create a template action to your repo with everything that you need to start getting started with Reviewpad.
Awesome.
So with the default configuration, it lives in that file URL on line 31. So we even fill up the commit, as I mentioned, the commit message and the description. So, and then you just have to click, go, and that will basically add Reviewpad into your repo.
Let's do it.
All right. So if I can then share my screen.
Yes, over to you.
So what happened now? Eddie just added the Reviewpad action there. And so I see it in my workflows here. So there's Reviewpad here 15 seconds ago. And now what is going to happen is we are going to do a couple of automations, right? So this file URL here specifies a couple of automations. And I just want to show you exactly what that's going to do. So the first thing that it does, it adds a label on the pull requests depending on their size, right? So if the size is less than 25 or equal to 25 lines of code, then I'm going to add a label small. Then if it's bigger until up to 100, I'm going to add a label medium. And if it's greater than 100, I'm going to add a label large. And then we're also going to say, okay, empty descriptions on both pull requests and issues. If the description is empty, then I want to give an error saying, and an error means like I want Reviewpad to just basically put a note saying, okay, this is an error, the description is empty, please add more information. The other thing we have added here by default is just the first time contributor. And I know that you've been using this kind of GitHub action in the past to just welcome people from the community. But what we do here is a little bit more personalized, let's say. So let's see this in action. So if I go to the Oktoberfest practice, and
we are starting off simple. We are going to dig deeper into some really quite amazing, a little bit more complicated, not too scary, but really amazing. So just bear with us.
So let's say I want to open a bug or an idea, right? So maybe I want to just add something here. So let me just go back, and I just want to get started with the feature idea. And so the feature is first time contributor GitHub. Let's put GitHub action should be deleted, right? Because Reviewpad is going to do that for us. And I'm just going to add no description here and no screenshots and so on. I actually need to do it because you already mentioned that I have to do it. So this is interesting. This is a text.
Just the description is required.
Yeah. This is a test. So we can just do this. So since Reviewpad is going to run and check if it is a first time contributor, we don't need another action to this. So let's submit the new issue. And now I should be able to see a couple of things happening, right? So you already have some automation. And Reviewpad is also running, right? So what is running now is you're running the previous workflow that was there. So it's a community YAML file. And it's also running the Reviewpad. So the community workflow already ran and said, okay, it's great having you. But now look at what happened here. So actually there's a couple of automations going on. So the first thing that it does, it actually is able to tell me, welcome Marcelo Sousa, thank you so much for the first issue. So it's basically allowing me to do this. And this is here, it's also thinking that it's my first pull request, which is definitely something that we want to avoid. So this is something we have to say no, it's not my first pull request. So I need to fix this in the description. But so what we can do here, and that's what I can show you in the start, is that we are basically doing the same thing, right? So if the issue count is equal to, on all pull requests, on all issues is equal to 1, so it's my first issue, I can actually say I just want to comment one time, and I want to say welcome, and then here I'm putting basically the author, right? So I'm basically, what Reviewpad is a way to specify kind of a lot of automation without having to have a particular GitHub action for each one of these things. And also one other good thing is that it lives kind of above GitHub. So I don't need to kind of know the nitty-gritty details of how GitHub API works, because basically we handle that for you. And so the other thing that it's going to do is, if, for example, now I open a pull request, so we can try to open a pull request on the Oktoberfest practice, we'll also be able to see that it's going to start adding the label with the size. So, Eddie, do you have any suggestions about what I should add to the Oktoberfest practice?
I think size might be a bit not redundant on this project, so I think we'll keep that for the link free. So on this, I think it would be good. I mean, we had some idea. We had so many ideas, and I've kind of now completely forgotten. I did make some notes.
All right. So maybe we can move away from this repo for now. So
or we could do it if it's waiting for review, who it's waiting for review from, or what things you have built in that we could show people straight away.
Like well, you already handled the description, right? So what is built in for like what right now is all these automations, right? So all these.
Oh, you have got size. Perfect.
Yeah. So the size is already there. Also checking for the empty description on both pull requests and issues, which I guess you're already doing. So this error will not happen. And it's also giving you a first time message, right? So the message now is personalized. So while in your message, as I mentioned in the past, so if I go back to the issues, so this is my issue right here, right? So this is what you're getting currently now. So we can basically just change the message to be exactly this one here, right? So I could say just welcome to the community, and then put the particular name there. So what I can actually show you is, how to create a pull request now that does not use, for example, the default configuration, right? And we could do that on the other repo, right? Okay. Do you have our sound back or not?
No, it's for some reason, I think it might be the GoPro is taking too much power, because that's not being picked up by StreamYard. So I might have to unplug the GoPro and see if it improves. Let me try it.
All right.
But you carry on, and I'll have one last try, and we'll see. So back camera is gone, everyone. Sorry.
No worries.
But I really want to have good sound. Like, sound is so important to me, and I'm so upset. I brought all this kit, and it's not being used at the moment.
Yeah,
so
I'm it up for a while now.
It's because my screen locked when we went out to get a drink just before, and everything seemed disconnected. So,
so let's just start by just creating a fork here, so that we can then just add some contributions there. So I'm just going to do this. And now I can pretty much just do the same thing I did before. So go here to reviewpad. Oh, sorry about that. Reviewpad.com. By the way, if you have any questions,
we do have some questions. I've been ignoring that, so sorry everyone. Let me go through some of the chat, and if I've missed it, you might have to kind of copy and paste them back in. So it's a kind of classification only when changing the README file. Yes, so we're going to, on the link-free project, we're going to classify it when they change their profile. So in the public data, their username.json, and we've got a little surprise on that one, so stay tuned. But then we can do other things, other classifications and other rules. They've got a lot built in already.
Yeah. So I've just added to my own fork now, using the same kind of one-click installation. And now pretty much what I want to do is I want to customize this a little bit. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, I don't want to use that default file. And it's quite simple to customize it. I just have to go to the file. I'm just going to use the kind of editor here so that, I don't, so I just start changing things.
Just a food for thought as well, before you make changes, a really great idea from Krish is, can we celebrate an achievement? So someone's done their 10th PR to a project, for example, can we put a comment in and give them some feedback? I really love that idea.
Yeah, we can do that. So
Okay.
let's write on the board, I guess, not forget.
Yes, let's not forget.
The nth contribution, and I'll show you how to do that. I don't know if you have sound, so I'll show you how to do that. I'll repeat it in a second. So what we have to do to customize things. So the first thing I want to do is just, I want to remove this line. So I don't want to use the default configuration. So I'm just going to do that. And I want to actually use a file. And now here I can actually specify where I want the file to live, right? It can be living on the root, or it can be in a particular directory, like the .github directory, whatever you want. So what happens that the GitHub action of Reviewpad will basically read the file that is configured in this particular location. So I'll just start commit. I'll just do that.
Got you. So you're not going to put the config in here. You're going to move the config out, but this will read that file, which is perfect.
Yeah. So basically, the config originally is living on our own repo, and now we're actually going to make the config live within this particular.
So we can customize it and keep control of it.
Exactly.
Perfect.
So we want to have full control of things now.
Awesome.
So I just committed this change, and now the only thing I have to do is I have to create a Reviewpad file, right? So I'm just going to go here, and I'm just going to say I want to add a file. I want to create a new file, and I'm going to call it reviewpad.yaml. Okay, so it's pretty simple. And so how do you kind of find out what goes in here, right? So this is why, we are working hard to get documentation. So if you go to
which is open source, so if you see any improvements, then just do it.
Actually, that's pretty relevant to say. So our documentation is open source, so that it lives on our organization repo under our organization under docs. So pretty much if you see an error in the documentation, you can come and open a pull request, open an issue, say, okay, you have a typo. You can, just get some suggestions. We would love to get your feedback. We have some people from the community already, providing some of those feedback, and it's really great. So, we have a bunch of use cases in the documentation where you also have some guides. What's the syntax of the YAML file, so it shows pretty much everything. So there's a lot of things that I want to go over. I don't want to overwhelm you and go over everything. I just want to go straight to the point on the things that could be interesting to start adding. And obviously, the secret sauce is really on this kind of what we call the built-ins. So in the built-ins, you pretty much have this ability to kind of get a lot of things, for example, like, what's the description of my pull request? What's the file count? We'll use that, I think. Does the pull request have linked issues, right? So every pull request should have a linked issue. Maybe if the pull request doesn't have a linked issue, then
leave a comment.
Yeah, leave a comment.
Yes.
Right. So that's something you can definitely do here. And it just goes on, and this list is growing. And again, if you want to add your own built-in, what you can basically do is just go to GitHub, Reviewpad/Reviewpad, and this is basically where the entire thing is living, right? So all the built-ins live here. You can again, I'm just going to show you the pull requests. Like you see a lot of this. Every label here is being added automatically, just really getting a lot of things automated for us. It's really helping us, just getting faster when it comes to pull requests. So now going back to what we should put in this particular file. So I'm just...
Awesome, Krish. Krish, finding ways to contribute to Reviewpad. Love that. Thank you so much. And I think Tom's says there's no code of conduct, so great contribution there because there's templates for that. I have half fixed the audio issue, but StreamYard is not picking it up. So I need to refresh StreamYard, but my worry is it will kill the live stream. So if anyone's tried that before, let me know before I try it, because I don't want to kill the live stream. It's going well, but the device is all picking it up now. It's all fine. It's all correct.
So that's a great point. Actually, we have a code of conduct in this repo, but I don't think we have on the action one.
Got you.
So that's something we definitely have to do. So thanks for that shout out, and we will get it done. So going back here to the Reviewpad configuration file. So if I go back here, I can just just getting started. I'm just gonna for example, copy paste this entire thing. And so what do I want to add here, right? So that's now the question. So as you can see, like there's an API version, then you can basically specify your labels. This is basically to say, okay, I want to add new labels to my repository, and then I can basically add a particular color to it. You can actually, if you forget about this, that's fine, because the Reviewpad will still add the labels to things. So what about the size? What is a small PR for you?
Oh, it's a good question. This is where I need the maintainers and the awesome people in the community to help us. I think this is the link-free project, so a small PR. We're going to have to probably tweak these numbers with time, but maybe, I don't know, 10 lines or less is small?
Yeah.
You think so?
I think so.
And then you've got medium. I think medium would then be 10 to 30. I mean, is this medium? Yeah, this is medium. 30. I like the smallest PRs possible, but we can start with this, and then anything over 30 is large, I think.
Okay, sounds good. So, by the way, you can basically also add as many things as you want. You can say, now I want to have something which is extra large. So you can basically just add an extra rule here and say, okay, this is extra large. And you can add pretty much whatever you want as the label, right? So, and here is the same thing. Here I could put like 300, for example.
Okay, I'll have to create these labels as well in the project, won't I?
No, that's here. That's what I was saying before, right? So you can specify the labels here.
And it will create them automatically?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah, and you can customize the color here. In fact, even if you don't create the labels and you don't have this, it will create the labels with a default color.
Amazing.
So you don't have to kind of do anything.
That's really, really nice.
The thing's supposed to do it for you. All right, so if we can just start with this one. So what else can we put in this particular repository? So maybe we can just start with the size and see it working, okay? So I'm going to need some of your help, because I'm going to need you to approve this pull request.
Okay, no problem, I can do that.
So I'm just going to do this, and I'm going to say create Reviewpad YAML. I'm going to save it, and then I'm kind of ready to contribute, I think.
Let's do it.
Because now I can open a pull request. So I can open a pull request, and I can see, okay, it adds a Reviewpad action, it updates the actual action, and it's creating the file. So I'm just going to say adds Reviewpad to action to the project.
Yeah, this is config for Reviewpad. And Praduma's come up with some good suggestions. Praduma, we're going to tweak these. So we've just put something in to start with, but we can tweak these and improve them and so forth. And there are some really big surprises coming up that even I was like, wow, when I saw it. So we're saving that till towards the end. I still want to refresh StreamYard, but I might break the whole stream.
I don't know. I think we should do it.
I want good audio. We've got our lav mics, but it's not being used. I'm so upset. So I've got some questions. Let's do the questions. No, let me refresh it. While you're writing this, everyone stay tuned.
Right.
I'm going to refresh StreamYard. You've still got StreamYard open, so I hope it doesn't bust. Let's go.
All right.
Reload. I'm really nervous. StreamYard is asking me, so I'm a bit nervous. Let's give it a go. Okay, so that didn't work, and we lost like 50% of the people. But it was worth a try. Is it better now? Are we back?
I hope we're back.
It says we're live.
Are we live, Adriano?
I shouldn't have done that.
You are back. Let me see.
Hopefully we're back. There'll be a bit delay of like 30 seconds to get to YouTube.
Yeah.
So that's we're back apparently. Okay,
it's
cool.
still worth the risk. Come on.
Little too risky for me. Sorry, everyone. I had to do a refresh of Chrome. So let's see. The next step would be to close Chrome and reopen it, but I think that's probably too much for now.
Okay.
I'm sweating already. We'll just shout really loud for use the mic off the laptop. So you've done this. So let me share my screen and approve this, and let's see what can happen. So if we're sharing this, so the pull request has come in. Let's have a look. 1 minute ago from Marcelo. I think that's on the screen. Everyone can see my screen, right? Perfect. Oh, no, I need to add mine to the stream. Here we go. What do you think? Does it look okay? Do we trust Marcelo? I think that looks good. So we've got two files. One is the GitHub action, and that's going to refer to the file in our project, which is, I think people were asking in the chat, which is going to be the Reviewpad config. So I want to approve that. Looks good to me. Let's get that merged in. Squash and merge. So I want to say, we'll say it's a feature, and it's Reviewpad action. Okay, let's go. This is when I go back to the chat and someone says, Eddie, you made a mistake. Okay.
No, I think you didn't. It's great. It's there.
It's good.
Wow, it's even a nice number, 1,700.
Yeah, it's a good number.
Wow, it's amazing how many pull requests you have in this project. All right, so we have now Reviewpad running here. So if, for example, a new, like a pull request comes, there should be a size, or if you run, for example, in this particular, if we basically now go here and there's an update with the base branch, then Reviewpad is going to run and should put the size of the pull request.
Okay, so I can, if I should take the screen share back, and if I update my profile, so if I go back to here and go to File, and say Eddie Jowd, and update mine, it should be small, because I'll make a really small change. So let's have a look. What can I write? What can I change? My business website. Yeah, I can change that to, I don't know, DevRel services or something. Business website sounds a bit boring. DevRel services.
But you need to make a pull request, so is that gonna...
Oh, yes, I will change it down below here to be pull
great.
request. So I will say, it's a fix, update my profile. So I propose those changes. Just check I'm sharing my screen. I am. Here's my pull request. I want to be naughty and not raise an issue. And not, yeah, so that's a bit bad of me. And now it's running, and we have loads of stuff running. Okay, so we've got a welcome is running. I can see that.
So welcome is running all the time, even for you.
Yes, welcome runs all the time for us, which is why it's great to move it to Reviewpad.
Okay.
And Reviewpad is running as well, so we'll give that a moment to run.
Yeah, it's there, small.
Nice. So we've got a small label added.
Yeah.
So that looks really good, right? So yes, we're starting off small. We're going to do some fancier stuff soon, but I think it's a good example to see that it's working.
Okay, that's great. So Reviewpad is working now in this particular repo. And so what should we do next? Should we replace the it's great to have you contribute to this project, or should we just go further and...
Let's replace this, because then other people can get green squares and raise it for our other Eddie Hub projects to do the same thing. So let's do that. And then yours is much smarter, because we can actually put a number of how many times. It'll probably be 1 or 2, but we can do that. So let's do it.
Let's do it. So I guess I need to go to my fork, I suppose.
Yes. Yeah.
I want to go to mine. So let's go to my fork.
I'm really liking all your ideas in the chat. So let us know in the chat what other ideas you have. I love the award system, like when you've created so many pull requests, or maybe add a label or a comment. That's really good. I'm sure you've got more. Let's see. We've got Chris has got a question. Are there rules for initial commit? Not in my project. Usually I dump everything in local drive. Yeah, I don't know what you mean. So for initial commit, can you get the commit number? Is that possible?
You can get the commit message, for example.
Can you get if it's the first commit to a project or not?
You can... no, I don't think we can get that at the moment. That would be a good thing to open here. So if you want something,
yes,
just go to issues on Reviewpad.
Let me share that in the chat again as well.
Go here, because it's easier in the action, and say, I want this. Oh, there's a new issue already.
That's Tom. Awesome, Tom. Thank you.
Thanks.
Raise ideas and star. I'll share a link. So yes, I think getting a commit number could be quite interesting. So if someone does 100 commits to the project, a bit like a Peloton. When you do 100 rides, they send you a t-shirt. So maybe when you do 100 commits, you kind of get a comment or a shout out, or maybe when you do 1,000, you get some swag or something. I don't know. But once you get the commit number, the world is your oyster, as they say. You got lots of ideas. So that's good.
Yeah. So maybe we can open it from the Reviewpad, just to show it a little bit now here.
Sure. And then another question here. So Chris, thanks for asking. Hey Bibek, awesome to have you here. If I've missed other people, I'm really sorry. Just say hi in the chat again. I was a bit distracted at the beginning with technical issues. Tom asks, does Reviewpad add label descriptions to the newly created issues. Ooh, interesting one. Because labels now can have descriptions.
Yes, we can add a label. So here, these labels, for example, say I want to add a particular description to the label itself. So how would that work? Actually, very simple. We just have to say, well, what's the description I want? And this description will be basically a description that you'll put in the particular, that will show up in the label as well.
Awesome. So great question, Tom. Thank you so much. I didn't know that, so I learned something new as well. So
Yeah.
perfect.
So you can definitely do that. So what was the one? So we wanted to have like the first time contributors, right? Or something like that.
Yes, the first time contributors.
So let's see if we can get this to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create here a new workflow. And in this workflow, I'm just going to call it first time contributor. And so what's the rule for a first time contributor, right? So the first time contributor is a person that, it's the first pull request they've opened, right? So the pull request count, so pull request, so now we have to basically understand, okay, what are the built-ins that Reviewpad has that could be helpful here? So I go here to the guides in the built-ins, and I can say, okay, do I have something that counts the number of pull requests? And yeah, I do actually have something, right? So I can say, essentially, pull request count by author. So for example, one thing you can do is to say, I want to have a limit on the number of PRs I want to have open at any given time. So some companies, they actually like to do this, say, okay, we don't want to have 50 pull requests open. So if they have more than 50 pull requests open, they put a label saying this is too much, kind of out of the queue. So it's
really?
It's really like strange, but it really kind of forces people to not have so many kind of stale pull requests.
Yes.
And to say, okay, you need to kind of close everything to be able to open almost like a new pull request.
Really? But you got me thinking about stale. Could we add a label to say that something is over a certain age? But don't get distracted. You carry on with what you're doing. I'm just thinking out loud here.
We can. There is something here called stale issues or pull requests.
Okay, we'll come back to that in a minute.
Come back to that.
Okay, perfect.
So let's try to do this. So I want to say, for example, so this is one spec. I can just specify the rules. I can inline the rules in the workflows. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing here. If I go back to, sorry, let me just close some tabs. Otherwise, there's too many tabs open. So the docs we don't want. So I'm here editing. Okay. So what do I want? I want to have a rule, and this rule says, okay, the pull request count by the author of the pull request, right? On all pull requests is equal to 1. So essentially what it does, it checks if the number of the pull requests created by the author of the pull request is equal to 1. And then, for example, you could have a shout out when it's 10.
See, that's so cool.
So you can basically customize this as you want. So let's say we also have to have something on the 10th.
I know Eddie Hub's going to go crazy about this. We're going to have various rules and say, when you're 10th, when it's your 100th.
So here you could say, for example, I don't know, kudos. I don't know if you want to add a label called kudos.
Could you do congrats?
Yeah, we could do.
Would it create the thing for us?
It will create the label
That's
for you.
amazing. That's amazing.
But you can also just add a comment in the pull request, for example, saying,
oh, yeah, okay.
I want to say like, info. Kudos for your 10th pull request. You are awesome. Okay, so
I like that.
We'll see who is the next person to have a 10th pull request. And then here, what we want to say essentially is we want to do the welcome, right? So I just want to comment once. So I want to say comment once, and then add essentially a message, right? To which is my comment. I don't want this comment to be repeated. I want only to happen one time.
Yes.
In the pull request.
Okay.
And the reason why we have this is because Reviewpad runs every time there is an event on the pull request. So you don't want the comment to be added over and over again on the same pull request.
No, that makes sense.
So
what about the info one?
Yeah, the info one is a little bit different.
Okay.
So we'll get.
Okay, we'll get to that. Okay.
So there is a difference between the comment once and the info. The info is kind of like a report. It's kind of like a status that lives on your pull request, and you can see, okay, is kind of like a checklist, and you can kind of do things that make it better or not. So let's do that. So maybe we could just say, so we are still improving a little bit the language because it's still a bit ugly to do this. But basically here, what you can do is you can construct your own strings. And so, for example, what I could say is, So I want to comment once, and I want to say welcome, and then I want to add the @ This is like the GitHub, and I want to say, okay, who is the person? And the person is the author, right? So this is like a printf. So I'm not sure how many people have coded in printf with C and things like that, but so the idea here is just to say, okay, welcome, and then add the actual name of the GitHub user login, and then you can say thank you for your first issue or thank you for your first pull request, and then I think you also have a nice message here that we should just copy paste here and say, okay, with the links and everything.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm just going to add a couple of things, and then maybe someone can, so this is welcome to the community. And then maybe someone can open another pull request.
Yeah, they can tweak it and improve it, and then someone can add one for the Discord link and the GitHub org and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I'll just add this basic one, and then Tom or other people can just go and modify these and add a particular.
Yeah, I think what would be another really good one for everyone watching, where we're going to get you some green squares, is it'd be great. In our customized GitHub org, we've got 5 steps to get started. It'd be great for their first pull request, maybe to write that in. So that could be quite useful. So therefore they know that. We're still trying to work on the audio issues. I've got a plan B. We're getting some help from behind the scenes. So let's see. We'll just shout a lot in the meantime.
That's good. We can do it. So what else do we want to add? We just want to add this more, or we can add some other things?
No, I think that's good. Let's keep that for now. We'll let the community come up with some ideas. So if you've got ideas for this, raise some issues, and let's do that.
So let's just add these. So I'm just going to update Reviewpad, commit directly to the main branch, and now I can open now the pull request, right? So I'm just going to open a pull request here.
Perfect. And then while you're doing that, I've got some questions in the chat. So thanks, Chris and Tom, being super active. Thank you, Flight Stream, saying it's super powerful. Praduma, thanks for joining. I appreciate you. Got to go. We'll chat to you soon. So the question is, are there any architecture diagrams of how this would work, how this fits in? Do you have any diagrams in your documentation yet?
How this would work?
How it kind of that high level, like how, do you have anything like that people can see, like a visualized version? If not, we can get the community to create one.
Yeah, they'll be good. Maybe just create like issues for what you expect to help us kind of understand like how we can make the entry barrier lower. How can people get started with this? We definitely have things like CLIs to say, okay, I have my specification. My specification is going to break or not at runtime on when I run it on an action. Okay. Because I'm just specifying here like a YAML file, right? So it might be a little bit dangerous to just start running things here without really trying it out. But that's pretty much what we have so far, and we have also like the docs that explain how this thing works, what's actually going on under the hood, and how Reviewpad is able to kind of parse this file and then do a bunch of things with the pull request and the issues and so on.
That makes sense. And Tom's come up with a great idea, which we're actually one of our surprises that we're going to do is add the label for when people are updating their profiles. And can I give the spoiler?
Yeah, you can.
The spoiler is we'll know if it's their profile or they're updating someone else's as well. So we've got some surprises coming, so stay tuned.
All right. So I'm just going to open this pull request here. Should we add it in this pull request, or should we just keep things really tidy up? So
for which one? Sorry, for the next bit.
Yeah, for the next bit. So we just have one single pull request where we add all the workflows.
Yeah, okay. We could test it as we go along, but I don't know. We'd have to find someone who's new to the project or someone who's on their 10th one. So it might be hard to test these ones. So we'll maybe add it to this one, and when we get to a point where we can test it, we'll do it.
So maybe what we can do is that because I only opened one pull request. Okay. So this will be my second. So maybe I can put like equal to 2 and then say, okay, I don't know. Do you want to have a message for the person that opens the second pull request?
Yeah, that's true. We can say thanks for coming back. Thanks for your.
It's fine. We don't have to actually do it, but
no, we can do it. What do you all think? And Tiago is being super helpful. So awesome. Great questions, Chris. It's good to see different perspectives. I'm still so annoyed about the audio. We tested it all before we went live, but went out for a drink and screens locked and things got disconnected.
It's always like that. Or maybe, I'm sure someone will open a new pull request very soon and then we will see all these things working.
That's true.
So I'll just add this and say update. So I'll just put here a couple of messages. This pull request updates Reviewpad to add the size and the first time contributor. message. The first time and 10th time.
10th time, yeah, it'd be good to have some some things like that. 10th time, some people can add maybe 50, 100th time. It'd be good to get some nice messages.
Yeah.
I like that.
So are we on time? We're still good, right?
We're still good. We're about halfway through, so
Okay.
I think we're still good for time.
So maybe now it's a good time to then go a little bit more into the things we can do, or more things we can do with Reviewpad. So there was that particular thing that we mentioned.
Yes.
Oh, maybe before that we could do the following, which is if there is no reviewers in the pull request, we may want to add a label saying waiting for reviews.
Yes, so when we're looking at the pull request list, like if you click on the pull request list now, we don't know which ones, they've got comments on them, and some of them got 1 reviews, but is it a review?
This is a comment probably from the welcome.
Yeah, oh yes, that's true. So I think it'd be good to have a label at a glance. What's waiting for reviews? If you scroll down a little bit more, so it'll be good to know a bit more about that. So yeah, I think it's another good one we can do as well.
So let's do it. So how can we do that? So basically we just go again to our fork, because that's where we are working with. So let's go back to this repo here.
And let me just answer some of these questions. So yeah, Chris, I live stream every Monday and Friday. Friday's usually with a guest, and Monday is usually me doing open source project reviews or things like that. But today's a special day, we're doing an in-person live event. So that's why today I'm not releasing a video, you're getting a live stream instead. Tom, yes, you can move the config for Reviewpad around if you want. So in the action, you specify where you want that config file.
That's right.
A great question.
So I'm just...
Oh, this is the question. Okay, Tom, now I understand your question. Is it possible to make it that the Reviewpad YAML is at an org level or in like a global repo that you can you refer to? Can you add a URL or is it path only?
You can add a URL. Yeah, that's exactly right. So
Tom,
you can
genius.
actually we are in the process of doing exactly that. We want to share the same configuration across all organization and then have only specific Reviewpad configurations that are targeted for that repository. So what you can do is essentially, so as I mentioned, so let's go to the edit, again, maybe to the other one, what's it called? It's October.
Hacktoberfest, yeah.
So for example, here, when we added the action, here we have added an actual URL. You see here? So this URL could live in your edit.
We've got a support repo where we put like a lot of our stuff, so we could have a lot of the common, the common configs that we want to use, and I'm guessing that we could then have a file that's in the support repo for EdiHub. That's all the common stuff, like the welcome messages and maybe the levels, like the 50 or 100, whatever it is. And then after that, we'd have another step with the specific ones for that repo. Oh my God, exactly. Tom, you're a genius. Obviously, you're a genius for doing this already, but Tom, for bringing it to my attention. So thank you so much. Love that.
All right, so we are in the process of adding a couple more rules. So I've just added my fork here. So what's the name of the repo? It should be link free. So I'm just going to create a branch. Where I add that, waiting for review, right? So I'm just going to call it Reviewpad. Do you have any branch specific thing that we need to follow when you're contributing?
No, we don't, because they're usually quite short-lived, and so we're more strict on the Git commits. Okay. But yeah, on the branching, because they're so short-lived, not really.
Yeah, makes sense. So let's call it Reviewpad, and then waiting for reviewers. And so the only thing we have to do now is I'm just going to open this on my VS Code because it'll be much easier for you to see. So I'm just going to open just that particular one. And I'm just going to open the Reviewpad YAML file. So this is my YAML file, and now what do I want to add now? I want to add another workflow, right? And this workflow is going to run and I'm going to call it waiting for reviewers. So I want to run all the time, and what's the rule that I want to add it? So the rule that I want to add here is that the length of the reviewers, is equal to 0, right?
Yeah.
So how can I do that? So I just go again to the built-ins and I say, okay, do we have anything that gives me the reviewers from the pull requests? Yeah, we do.
Yes.
So we can simply say reviewers equals the empty array. So if I just do this, now if this is true, then it means that there is absolutely no, the list of reviewers is empty. So I just want to add a label saying, let's be nice to people. Let's actually say, okay, we still don't have any reviewers. Please, wait. Because sometimes when you just open a pull request, people can get a bit annoyed. Like, okay, nothing happens. But you just get a message saying, okay, we're going to come back to you. Like one of our maintainers is going to come back to you. So let's do that. So let's say, okay. So how can we do that? We have these built-ins, like we have 3 of them, which are very interesting. I find them very interesting, which is called warning, info, and errors.
Okay. We used info already, didn't we, as well?
I don't think we used info. Oh yeah, we used info here.
On the kudos one.
Exactly. So let's look at this and see it in action. So what we're going to say here is that a maintainer will review your pull request soon, something like this. And then we're going to be able to say, for example, I want to add a label saying add label waiting reviewers. I don't know, is this a too long name? Or we can just
No, I think that's fine. We can always try it and we can always change it.
Okay, we don't need this.
Part of the fun.
And again, I don't know who wants to do that, but if someone wants to do it, you can go here and say, okay, I want to add the name of the label with a color and description, and it should work. Like if I want to actually add more information about this particular label.
Okay.
Okay.
Because at the moment now, it will create the label, but it'll be a default color.
It will be a default color. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is basically the normal behavior that GitHub actually does when you just make an API call.
So if someone could raise an issue to say update the config add a label at the top saying waiting for reviewers, give it a description and a color as well. So if you can do that, that'd be great. And if someone wants to raise the pull request, then double thumbs up.
So here we go. So now we are here and we can say, let's just call it Reviewpad or add, waiting for a reviewer's label with Reviewpad.
Tom's coming up with so many ideas.
That's
loving
great.
this.
That's
Add the accepted label when 2 maintainers review and confirm the changes.
Yeah.
This is coming out, I think, in the next release, which is next week. So therefore, we can distinguish between maintainers and people in the community. So therefore, because it might have 2 people from the community, which is great, we encourage that. But also we want to know if it's 2 from the maintainers.
Yeah.
And we could maybe auto-merge things if it has 2 from the community and 1 from the maintainer. So as long as there's 1 maintainer and then 2 from the community or 1 from the community, it auto-merges. So that will be coming out next week in the next release to be more granular.
Yeah, if you want to have the basic use cases of reviewer assignment, feel free to look at the docs. There is use cases, reviewer assignment, and there's a bunch of use cases that you can have. Maybe one that I was telling Eddie about is this idea of sequential reviewers. So say you have a particular change which is requires a multi-step of review, and for example, say you have something like some database migration needs to first be reviewed by someone called John, and then it needs to be reviewed by the security team, but I don't want to bother the security team until John has approved it. So how do I do that? Because it's not very easy unless you manually go and say, okay, John has approved it, or John knows that after they approved and they need to put the security team as a reviewer. You can specify that particular policy with Reviewpad, and Reviewpad will take care of understanding, okay, now I assign this particular reviewer, then when the reviewer is approved, then I'm going to assign something else.
Is it possible to do it with the amount of reviewers?
Yeah, this is what we're going to do in the next
Perfect.
release.
I don't know what you all think, but I'm thinking that it would be great if once 1 or 2 community members have reviewed it, then it assigns it to the maintainers. Yeah. So therefore they can maybe, a lot of the indentation and all of the other things, or smaller things can be picked up by the community. It just eases a bit off the pressure off the maintainers because you're all doing an amazing job, but I just want to try and ease that pressure off. And then I see from Tom, they're suggesting, and I think I've seen this in their docs already, so I'm going to ask, can we automatically merge? The answer is yes, but then the second part to your question is if they're using conventional commit message, and I'm pretty sure I saw something.
Yeah, we do have that. So you can enforce conventional commits with a particular built-in, which is called commit lint, and this will make sure that you're using the conventional commits format. Otherwise, it will put a message in the pull request saying we discommit this and this one. Do not go with the right conventions.
So that's perfect. That's awesome.
If you want, we can even put that just for you to see it running. So let's just add that.
Let's add that. But I'm laughing, not you. I'm laughing at Tom because great support, Marcus. By the way, Marcus is saying Tom is a source of inspiration. Absolutely. But Tom also asks, is there a project board to see what features you're coming out in your future releases?
Yeah, we have a project board which is not. I don't think it's public at the moment,
okay.
but we're going to make it public and with a roadmap. And what you can also see is like in the docs there is a next version. Okay, so if I go here to docs, this is the version we just released, but in the next one, you can basically see what's gonna be in the next version. Right?
Perfect.
So I know it's not ideal that you don't see what's gonna come on 3 versions but we're also
good.
kind of very agile at the moment,
Yes.
so we don't have we don't spend so much time doing take the usual amounts of time doing product roadmaps and things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are trying to collect more issues as well and more use cases and put them here.
That makes sense.
So conventional commits, right? So we can have another workflow here that links the commits. By the way, there's also this cool thing about requiring linear history. I don't know if you use that, but we can just pretty much just...
I like that, yeah, that's good. I think in a pull request it's not such an issue, but when it goes into the main branch, it needs to be linear, definitely.
So we can just simply copy paste this particular use case. So if I don't have a linear history in the commits of my pull request, it will give me a warning. Or otherwise I'm just going to run. So this is kind of just a dummy rule that says, okay, always run the commit lint, and the commit lint is going to do what's specified in the documentation here. And again, you can go here to the built-ins. There's a bunch of functions and actions that you can do, and then you can see exactly what by the way, you can also link to the title of the PR. If you want to enforce the conventions, not only on the commits, but you can also have this title lint. And this was released today. So
I love that.
So I can pretty much just have also the fact, because sometimes we squash.
Yes,
and when you
do.
squash, if the title of the PR is not like a conventional commit, then you kind of have to change the...
Yes, have to update it. I do that all the time.
Yeah, so this will basically make sure that when you open the pull request title will be in a way that you can just simply squash and merge without being worried about...
We will need that for the automatic merging, definitely,
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So that's here, and again, just the commit lint here, and you can see there is a bunch of other use cases, including things like adding to project. I don't know if you use a project in one of these, so the GitHub projects.
Yes, we do.
So one of the things that we do in Reviewpad is every time there's a new issue being created, we automatically add to the project in a particular column.
Got you.
And things like that. So going back.
That's awesome. You can control which column it's in, which I think is great.
Exactly. So we were here. So this is the new changes we want to have. So I'm just going to copy these.
Let me see if anyone has raised any issues or pull requests on the GitHub project.
So we can just say that this is a feature.
Your pull request has got a medium, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Cool. It's good to know the size of it at a glance.
Yeah, it's good to know the size of things, right?
Yeah.
So what did we do here? Add workflows for waiting for reviewers. And commit lint. This is a long message. Don't put so...
Yeah, 52 characters, right?
Yeah,
I think it's quite hard.
Yeah.
Really, really hard. But but GitHub usually truncates it and puts it into the description, which is quite nice.
So now I can just create another pull request. So this is the link-free project. So I'm just going to compare. So I can.
Are you adding it to the existing one? Or you're raising a new one.
I'm raising a new one.
Okay.
So that there are different things going on.
Okay.
And so this is. Yeah, right. Because this is the.
It will add all the previous
Yeah.
ones.
So maybe I can add to the previous one.
Yeah, you can add to the previous PR,
Yeah.
and we can always update it once we've done the merge.
Yeah. So I'll just basically.
That's correct. And then I see what you mean.
I think it'll be fine because we'll just simply, there'll be no Git conflict because it will just take
Okay.
the changes from one to the other. But if not, what we can do is we can close the previous one that we have opened.
Yeah, just keep the latest one. Yeah.
Just keep the latest one, and then we can just use this branch and then continue in this branch.
Yeah.
So
sounds
the
good.
last kind of automation. Which,
Yes.
Which will be fun.
Which should
So-
be good.
So let's already start to enforce this. So let's say here I want to say this is a feature or like part of the CI. Add more workflows to Reviewpad configuration. Then here we can say, not so sure.
Don't worry about the default for now. Don't worry about the default template. No one listen to what I'm saying because this is a bad. I'm encouraging bad practice here. But for today, just for the sake of time,
Pull requests.
we're all going to review it together.
Workflows to the Reviewpad configuration with commits, linking, and waiting for reviewers. Okay, so let's just create a pull request. Then I can go and close the other one because we don't need it. So now I've opened it.
Perfect. And it will
now
get
I can-
a medium as well, probably. Yeah, close the previous one.
I'm going to close this one. Close pull request. And so maybe for the last bit, we can do a kind of thing that we promised.
Yes.
So
Let's do it.
So explain to me the problem so that everyone can be aware. It's about the name of the, like when you make a contribution.
Oh, yes,
with
this
the-
is it.
With the profile edition, right? So it's kind of like what you're showing me here in these pull requests, right?
Yes, a good example. So we've got a pull request here by this person, and they have created a profile for themselves, which is great. So if we go to Files Changed, we can see at the top next to Opened, it says their username, and we can also see their file name is their username as well, which is what we encourage, is what our documentation says, and so forth. But we do check this manually, and it would be really good to know if it matches, for one, and two, if someone, the reason why if it matches is because this is correct, this is going to get the thumbs up, the green light. But what happens if I or you or someone else changes someone else's profile? They should maybe get a message saying you're changing someone else's profile. So therefore, they realize that's not something we want to allow or encourage. Because I know they might have a typo in their profile, but it's their profile. You can put a comment on their pull request, but we can't change it. They've put it there. It might be the way they like the spelling or whatever it is. So I think if we can put some labels on or a comment like with the info and warn, I think that would be really good. Could we even could we fail a build on it as well?
We could fail the check of Reviewpad.
Yeah,
And
that's
that
what I mean. Sorry.
yeah, we could do that.
Okay, awesome. So cool.
All right, so let's try to see how we could do that. So I'm gonna go back to my VS Code. So basically what we want to do is we want to add a new workflow, right? And in this new workflow, so let me just put here always run, because these workflows, you want them to run all the time. They're not like mutually exclusive, so that's why we have to put this always run. So we want to add a new one. And so what we want to have here. So if I had a description to this one, how would you call this? It's just like checks, or what was it? Was it short profile or something?
Yeah. So maybe what could we call it, everyone? Something like
There was a
profile owner.
Yeah, profile edition, right?
Profile edition. That's
So
true.
short profile edition. Okay. So automates profile.
Yeah, so that's there's a profile change. I suppose we need another label to see if it's the user. So yes, it'd be great. So if they've changed something in the profiles data directory, then we should add this label, the existing label. But I think we need a new label.
Oh, this is just when someone modifies something here in this particular public data?
Yes.
Oh, let's do that first then.
We'll do that one first.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's do this first. So this is another kind of workflow. So like add label for sure profile edition, right? So what we want to do here, we don't need a description because it's kind of self-explanatory, I would hope. So true. So we want to make sure that something is modified in this particular file or in this particular directory, right? So if I go back to my built-ins, like I need to find out, what as file name, for example. So as file name is a built-in that determines whether something is being modified in that particular, that particular file or not.
Okay. Can we use has file pattern maybe because it's
Exactly. So that's the one that we actually need to do. So what we need to do is exactly this, right?
yes, exactly.
All right. So as file pattern, and then what we want to do is what's the directory?
Public data.
Yeah, public data. Oops. So interesting when you start typing and you're kind of in a live stream.
It's always harder.
It's always harder, yeah. So then you want to say something like, so if this is a rule, then I pretty much just want to add label with, sure profile
It
edition.
might be a space after that. We might have to check.
So let's check that.
I think edition is it double T edition?
That's-
Double D, sorry. I can't remember.
Sorry.
Let's
Yeah, I think it's double D.
just check.
Oh, what happened?
While you're doing that, I'm waiting for it to load. I'll answer Marcus's question. Keyboard sounds cool. Yeah, no, I don't want the keyboard. We've got mics, but they didn't connect, unfortunately. Are there limits for GitHub Actions on free accounts? I think for open source projects, there is it's unlimited, but I think there's a limit of fair use, which is like 2,000 or something. I don't know. I've never hit that, so it's very generous.
Yeah, one thing here that I find it interesting is that we're basically writing one GitHub action to rule them all in a way.
Oh, that's true.
So you don't have to run like 5 different GitHub actions and spawn like different virtual machines and all these things
Got you.
to do different things. You could use, obviously not in all the cases. We're not trying to replace a CI here or many other checks, but there's a lot of checks that could just simply be done and maintained in this YAML file or in multiple YAML files, but you only have to run one GitHub
GitHub action is true.
and so you can save some minutes there if you're really like struggling with the minutes. So this workflow adds the label every time we modify something in the public data directory. So that's done. And so I think for the other one, what we want to do is we wanted to make sure that it was the exactly name, right? So
Yes.
and we want to make sure also perhaps that you're not modifying any other file, for example.
Yes. So we will test this afterwards because I will modify mine, and I'll also modify one of yours, and see if we get 2 different labels.
All right. So
The pressure's on.
the pressure is on. We have to accept this pull request though, so you'll have to really trust that this is going to run. Okay, so now we want to do this. So let's put in the description. So automates profile edition. We want to run it all the time. So what is the rule that we want to have here? So the rule that we want to have is perhaps we should write specific rules for this. So in Reviewpad, you can also have a section dedicated just for rules, and then those rules can be used in the workflow. So let me
Oh
show
yes,
it.
this is the kind of the clean up the section you showed me last time.
Yeah,
That's
so
great.
basically here you can just add rules, and I'm just gonna kind of, for the sake of time, just get here one of the rules.
No, do that, and I will catch up on the chat. So what questions does everyone have? Sorry, you hear me tapping away on the keyboard. Next time it will not be an issue, I
So-
promise.
This is the rule that's going to check if you have a correct file name. So what we are doing here is we're saying that the author, so we are kind of building a string. So let's see what is the actual file name that we need to do. So they need to live in a particular file, right? So it has to
Yes.
be public/data/ the name of the
Yes.
user .json.
That's correct, yeah.
So it has to be public .data. The name, right? Here is
Yes.
the author name. And
Yes,
then
that's correct.
.json.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Okay.
So this rule is going to check if there's a file in the diff with this particular format. Okay.
Okay.
And so then we might want to have a rule that says, okay, just modifies only one file. So the diff only has one file being modified. So I'm just going to go.
So you're going to say if they've changed a file and it needs to be only one file, so therefore there's no profile changes with feature changes being mixed up.
Exactly.
So you can add the rules together. I'm liking
Exactly.
that.
Yeah. So you basically can chain rules and have a way of just chaining them. So how do we do this? So modifies only one file. This is kind of self-prescriptive, so we don't need to have something like this. So we have some dedicated built-ins for this. So we actually have a built-in called file count. So this gives you the number of files modified in the diff, and I just want to say equals to 1.
Got you, nice.
Okay, so it just modifies one file, and now I just want to have a rule that basically chains them, right? So I want to have a kind of end here, and this is where you can see really like why Reviewpad makes some sense, because you can kind of reuse these building blocks to build more complicated workflows.
Exactly.
So this is a check for profile addition. And the spec of this is I want to simply say I want to have the rule that is called check for file name, and I want to have the rule that modifies only one file. So basically this rule is going to be true only when both of these rules are true. Okay, and so now we can use this rule down, right? So now I pretty much can go down here and say I want to use this particular. So I want to say if the rule, right? So I have a reference to the rule.
Yeah, makes sense.
Then, so what I want to do, I want to maybe add a label or add a label.
Yeah, I think. What does everyone think? Add a label, add a comment.
Label saying looks good to me. The famous LGTM.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, sounds good.
All right, so this will add a label called LGTM. And so, shall we give this a try?
Let's do it.
Shall we give this a try? I'm a bit nervous now, because
Don't
this
be
is
nervous.
the largest, the biggest Reviewpad configuration that I've done without running multiple or testing anything. So really, bear with me if something does not work, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to work.
No, it will work. What do you all think? Out of 10, how much do you think it's going to work? I think it's an 11 because, you know, we've got Dr. Marcelo over here. But what do you think? Let's be honest. You think it's a 5 or a 7? Let us know in the chat how confident you are this will work. I know you've been checking this as we go along. I haven't. I've still been playing with the audio with no luck. But I'm pretty confident it's going to work. We're going to merge it, and then we're going to create some PRs. Has anyone raised the issue for some of these? And also raise the issues on Reviewpad as well. So raise the ideas that you had on Reviewpad, and also, of course, obviously give them a star to show them some support as well. Okay, so we've got some scores in. Tiago's 100, thank you so much. And Nirav is 2 fingers crossed. I always thought 2 fingers crossed was bad luck, but okay, we'll take it as a positive. And Marcus says they're going to start using Reviewpad right away.
Oh,
awesome.
Okay. We can already see some automation going on here.
Yes.
So this particular pull request,
It's large.
It's large. Is waiting for reviewers because there is no reviewer yet.
Perfect.
Because there was no reviews done, and it will say, okay, I'm maintaining a review your pull request.
Love
soon.
that.
And then the unconventional commits were detected, right? So these commits do not respect the right formatting.
Okay.
And then I know exactly what I need to fix.
Got you.
So.
Okay, so if someone could do me a favor and review this, just approve it. That's fine. I want to see if that waiting for reviewers should disappear.
The waiting for it, yeah, that should disappear. So
Okay.
let's see.
If someone could do that.
But it's a little bit strange because it should not be already picking up this because I'm kind of doing an automation here, right? So
Okay.
I need to first I think approve this PR so that it goes into the main branch.
Yes.
And then I should be able to see it running properly.
Let me do that. Okay, I'll approve it, and then we should remove that label, and then we can get it merged in, so we can.
And then we can try another pull request.
Exactly.
Like all the things we want to try out.
Let's do that. Okay, so I've approved it. Let's squash and merge it. Looks good. We don't need a deployment for that, so more workflows for Reviewpad. Okay. So, okay. If you look at that, should be going in right now. That's now merged.
So let's see if it's here. Yeah, perfect. So now we can really give it a try.
Let's do it.
Okay.
So,
So,
what should we
how-
test first?
so maybe I should add my own profile.
Yes,
to this
add your
thing.
own profile. Exactly. There's some good documentation, but you can just copy someone's JSON file and then just
Yeah,
change.
I'm just
the
gonna
details.
copy maybe your file and see if I can do this thing. So,
Yes.
how do I do this? So
If you scroll to the bottom, in the README, I think there's a simple example you could copy and paste. A bit further, there isn't. Oh, here we go.
There we go.
Yes, if you hit the top right of that, just hit copy,
yeah, perfect.
and then go create your own.
Yeah, so let's go here to our, so let's sync in with the fork, right?
Yeah.
Why is it saying I have conflicts to be solved?
Because I squashed. Did you make any changes to?
That's
Yeah.
a bit strange. Maybe I can, what I'm gonna do is something very simple, a bit dramatic, but I'm gonna go remove this repository and then fork again.
Yeah, that's always a good way to do it.
Just to not.
Okay,
bother you.
while you're doing that, I'm going to steal the screen share, and I'm going to see if I can make a change. So who have we got in the chat? What's your GitHub username? Let me make a change to one of your profiles. I want to see if I get a failure. Well, not failure. We put a comment. So someone could share your GitHub, not a link to your GitHub, just your GitHub username. And if you've got a link-free profile, I'll bring it up. Obviously, give you a shout out, say thank you for putting yourself out there. But I will then try and make a change to it. Obviously, we won't merge it, so don't worry. But we'll see. So who's got one? I know Tom has one, so I can always pick Tom. Who else have we got still here in the chat? Oh, thank you. Solly, thank you so much. Okay, so we've got Real Solly M. Okay, so let me go bring that up. Real Solly M. Here we go. Thank you so much. So everyone, go check out Real Solly, Solly's GitHub. I want to share it in the chat to say thank you for putting yourself out there. There is the link. Thank you, Nirav, but Solly just beat you. So I want to make a change to yours. I'm not going to merge it, so don't worry. So I want to, in the bio, I want to say software engineer. I want to change it to eng, right? I want to commit it, but to a branch, create a new branch, and I'll just call it do not merge. Do not merge. So no one merges it. And we'll just say it's a chore, and just say updated someone else's profile. So if I create that in the branch, here we go, and I'm going to create the pull request. So you can all see that, and then we can see these running. So let's see if this works. So we were expecting a label, and I forget what the label was that we were expecting.
Oh, so let's see. Wait, what? So where are we now?
I have updated someone else's profile.
And you've created a pull request for that?
Yes. Do you want me to share your screen again? Here you go. You can drive. Okay.
So it's a small pull request.
Yes. Oh, and what did it say? Waiting for reviewers, chore profile addition.
Yeah, that makes sense because you modified that particular directory, right?
Yes, so that's
what-
correct.
And it's not going to give you the LGTM, right? Because
It's not mine.
It's not yours. And you
Okay.
did that already. And in fact, you can actually see exactly what workflows ran and which ones didn't. So I can go here to Reviewpad, to the logs of the GitHub action.
Okay. Perfect.
And then I can go down, 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 and I can actually see what's going on here. So this is the file, there's a bunch of things happening, and now I can say, okay, evaluating,
Got you.
and then here, chore profile addition, no rules activated. So
Okay.
it did not work. Right, as expected, right? So
Got you.
So now I'm gonna add my own profile, and now it should work.
It should say look good to me.
Yeah, it should give me a label
Okay.
that looks good to me.
Perfect. And then anyone watching, if you want some green squares, we need to add a warning message to, I'm going to close that PR so no one merges it. But I think we don't get the label looks good to me, but it would be also good on the flip side to add a message with a warning to say this is not your profile. And we could also fail it, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we can fail it.
So I think we should fail the build. If someone's updating someone else's profile, we should fail it.
Yeah, we should fail that. So all I want, I'm going to go to the hacking. I'm hacking a little bit with you. Add. So I've added something here now. So where should I now you need to tell me a little bit because I don't know exactly. So it was
yes.
public. So I need to go to the right repo. So I need to go here. So it's
Public,
public
data,
data.
and then just add a JSON file in there.
So I have to add a new file, and I'm going to have to call it Marcelo Sousa, because that's my login on GitHub. And I'm going to do this, right? So follow me on GitHub. I'm going to add here my, Marcelo Sousa. That's me.
If you just put your username, then GitHub will use your profile image.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, it's very, very cool.
So I'll just do this, and then put here Marcelo. I can replace it automatically, right? And then also let's just do this. Yes.
Perfect. And you can delete milestones. They're optional.
Copilot thinks
Yes.
I have the same one, but I don't. Okay, so that's it.
And then I'll delete the milestones
Oh yeah, let's leave the milestones.
just delete them out.
Oh. So yeah, that should be it, right?
Yeah,
I
and the
don't need
comma.
this,
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so I'm ready to go. So I'm adding this. Git commit. I don't know. How do you call this? I guess we should call it feature. I don't know if it's a feature. Let's call it test, right? We are testing something.
Yeah, or call it. What do we usually call it? Yeah, test is fine. Yeah,
Add Marcelo Sousa profile. Okay, so let's push the branch and then open the PR and see.
let's do it.
And let's see if we did it. Okay, link free. Here we go. I'm gonna create a pull request now, and I'm gonna create it with just the profile that I'm just gonna create it.
Yeah, just hit
I
create.
don't
It's
do
fine.
anything. Okay, a little bit nervous. Let's see what happens.
You spelled your name wrong. No, I'm joking.
Let's see what happens. So we're expecting to see a couple of labels, right? One that says no reviewers, another one with a small.
It might be a medium. It was pretty big. It's more than 10 lines.
Oh yeah, you're right, medium.
Ah, yeah, medium. 10 points to me.
LGTM.
And that looks good to me. We need a color on that. Looks good to me. We need green, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
And then I still think we need to fail the build and maybe add a label, not your profile, in red or something.
Yeah.
So lots of green squares for all of you to do. You want to add them, don't you?
No, let's stop now. Well, I can add them. No, it was great. So this is like just a flavor of the automation. We didn't even go to like the things you can do, like looking at the actual semantic changes. So
oh yeah, talk a bit more about that. That'd be great.
yeah, so basically here you have JSON, but what you can do is, for example, in Reviewpad, you have this thing where we have some built-ins that actually look into the code. So when you talk, for example, here you go to the use case on labeling, you can actually say, okay, I want to label, for example, change based on particular code patterns. So what's happening here is you have this built-in called as code pattern, and you can put a regex into it. And you can say, for example, suppose that you have an API which has been deprecated.
Okay.
You want to make sure that a new pull request does not use that particular API.
Makes sense.
You can actually go here and say, okay, I'm going to have a particular rule that says you cannot call this API anymore. And then depending on whether that rule is activated, you can basically say, add a particular message immediately saying you're using a deprecated
add a label
yeah.
or fail the
or
build.
fail, or just
That's awesome.
make a comment and so on. So those are the things that you can do in terms of just like code patterns. And then we actually even go further. So we have this analyzer of code that runs for about 15 programming languages. So what you can do is, for example, in Go, say you have this particular Go code, you can add an annotation, for example, saying Reviewpad annotation critical. And so what this means is that if I change any line within this function, Reviewpad understands that you are changing a critical function, or you're changing a function which has been annotated with critical.
That's awesome.
And then you can basically again do kind of workflows depending on you're changing code that is critical or code that is security aware, and you can, for example, add labels, you can add particular reviewers, you can in the future maybe add automatic review comments, all these other things that you expect to do so that when the reviewer comes, or the author opens the PRs, they know like all these automations are happening.
And they can see straight away at a glance, right, that PR's for me to review, or that one isn't. I'm going to let someone else do it for whatever reason, because it's my area of speciality. So
Exactly.
I love that.
Exactly.
Avi, you're joining at the end of the live stream, but thank you for joining. I know it's super late in Japan, so thank you so much.
Two more things I wanted to share. Like we talked about this ability to have
staled, yes.
So there is here in the use cases one entire workflow. You can basically say, okay, I want to label and even close at some point automatically PRs or issues that are kind of without activity at all.
Okay.
For example, for like a month, or 2 months, and you can just start adding notes and say, okay, this issue has been kind of not with no activity for like a month. Maybe you want to do something, or in a week from now we're going to close it. And for this, you basically can use in the GitHub in the GitHub action, you can use the cron job, so you can do it to run every time at midnight once, and then Reviewpad is going to take care of that.
Awesome.
Okay? And then finally, I want to share this philosophy, or it's kind of a methodology actually, this ship show ask, which is really this idea that not all pull requests are the same. And so this, we actually do this a lot.
Ship show ask.
Yeah, so it's basically the idea that, every pull request, or kind of all pull requests should either be called ship, show, or ask. So a ship is kind of, I don't need a code review. I mean, this pull request is so simple and goes through all the checks, everything is green, then it should automatically be merged. Like the chore that we just did, like the adding of the profile.
Yeah.
That's kind of like a definition of a ship.
Okay.
And then a show is more like a pull request, which can be automatically merged. But I wanted to share some knowledge. I wanted to have a review after the PR is merged, which is kind of a little bit strange for some people, but it's actually possible to start reviewing code after it's been been merged. And then you have the ask, which is the typical thing that we use, right? All the PRs that we are using are kind of ask PRs because we are kind of blocked automatically. So the way we use this at Reviewpad, by the way, is really simple. So every time I open a pull request, you'll be able to see here. So in the template of the GitHub of the pull request, we have like a checklist and so on. But in the end, we have like what we call the code review and merge strategy. Okay. So you have basically 3 options. And then depending on which one you select, Reviewpad parses the description, understands which one you did, and then adds the label automatically, finds out if you need to run the build, for example. So if I only modify like MD files, I don't need to run the build because I'm not modifying any code. So I want to save some resources. I want to make sure that I'm not doing things that are kind of like not going to help me anyhow.
Yes, that's true. And we were talking about that yesterday, actually, with Paduma, who's no longer in the chat, but about trying to be more efficient because we're having all these actions run all the time. Just doesn't make sense. So
exactly.
That's super interesting.
Yeah, you can control like whether the actions should run or not based on labels. For example, this one here, the run build is basically controlling that. And so, for example, in the pull request that we have, like when for example I go to the closed, I can see like, for example, the ship one. Like this is a ship that ran the build and was small. So what happened here was, and if I just look, so you see there's all automation happening. I'm not doing anything. So I open the PR, I say it's a ship PR, Reviewpad bot goes and adds all the size, it's a ship and runs the build. Then it assigns me automatically assigns me as the person. Okay. Because I was the one who opened it, so I'm responsible for closing it. And then it runs the build. When the build is green, runs again and finds out if it was green and then merges. So it will never merge if the build is red, for example. Perfect. So then we basically have our own like way of just automatically merge code and in changes that are really about, for example, just not even code, like changes of the README, you can just automatically merge without even running the build. Yeah, that's true. You don't need to build the code if there's changes in documentation. Exactly. Okay, that's awesome. Everyone, what do you think? I have learned so much. There are so many ideas for the EddieHub project from Marcelo and from all of you as well. Tom came up with some great ideas. So we have merged that into let me steal the screen share back. So if I steal this back, we have merged that into Linkfree. So just to briefly recap for anyone who joined recently, there is the GitHub action for Reviewpad now, but you don't actually need to really look at this because this is mostly going to, it's kind of like the foundations. What we want to look at is the Reviewpad file at the bottom. So what we need to do is go to that file in the root, and I think the root is a great place to keep it. Lots of configs are in that directory. And this is what we've got going on. So we have got some labels and they've got these colors, but we need some more creative because we are using other labels. So we've got the looks good to me label, which is, thank you. So we've got this label, but it's just going default gray color. So it'd be great to have a label added to the top here for that. So you could add LGTM and then add a color, maybe green. And then we've also got some other labels that probably might need a red. We've got a warn here. I do like the idea of having a warn or a comment for other situations. Have a look and see. And also, if it's your 10th PR, you get a nice message. Maybe we want something for 100th PR. Could we do anything for, I don't know if this is possible, or I don't know if it's a good idea or not.
But what about for the people who are doing code reviews? Like if it's someone's 100th code review, could a comment be added?
Oh yeah, that's a great idea for a built-in we could add to Reviewpad. We don't have that particular built-in, the number of code reviews done, but we could definitely add an issue on the Reviewpad or the Reviewpad action repo.
Perfect. So someone raised an issue here.
Yeah.
So we've got architect diagram, code of conduct. What was the one we were just talking about?
Number of code reviews done.
Number of code reviews. Just click new and choose a feature request and you hit get started. If no one wants the green square, I'll happily do it, but I know a lot of you would like some green squares. Yes, thanks for joining. A bit late, we're just wrapping up now. Thank you so much, Mikael and Marcus and everyone else as well. Really appreciate it. But I can raise the issue, so how shall I write it? Number of code reviews by author.
Yeah.
Number of code reviews by author. Do I need to fill all this out?
No, you could just do. Actually, the best way is really just to add I just add something. We'll figure.
Well,
it out.
I can tidy it up later on after the live stream. But the idea is add message, for example, add message when the reviewer does their 100th review. I don't know. I thought that's really nice to add. So we'll submit that for now.
Yeah.
We're at 76 stars, everyone. I was hoping to get to 100. I know the audio issues didn't help and the refresh didn't help. Let's see if we can at least get it to 80. So I'm going to share it again in the chat, and I would appreciate your support for their open source project. I know they'll appreciate it as well. Any questions? They do have a Discord. So you can go chat to them. I joined their Discord today and got loads of welcome messages by their team, which was super nice. So it's great. And thank you so much, Reviewpad and Marcelo for hosting us in your amazing offices. I know I messed up the audio, I messed up the back camera, but I had so much fun. Hopefully you all had fun as well. And yeah, links in the description below to the repo and to Marcelo's Twitter if you want to follow Marcelo and see what else is going on. Anything else you would like to add?
I just want to thank you and everyone that were able to join, and we'll see in the future. So it's kind of a hi or thank you to the future. I don't know if you do these things, but yeah. So thank you, and we are here to help. So any kind of automation that you feel like you're clicking some buttons that are kind of taking away some of your time of your life, we are here to help and save that time and get a better experience when it comes to like contributing to projects.
That's awesome. I had so much fun. Thank you all, everyone. This is my first in-person live stream. The next one will be even better because I would have learned from this. So thank you all so much. Have a great rest of your week.